Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started tonight. Thank you for being here for our agenda work session. April 27th, 2017. We will be attempting to set the agenda for the May 11th, 2017 regular council meeting. Janet, if we can have the roll call, please. Here? Here.
Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Dalton. Here. Councilmember Wood.
Here.
City Manager Ford.
Here.
City Clerk Richard.
Here. You okay?
Yeah, I'll be with the meeting.
Okay. For the next regular council meeting, May 11th, potentially we could have, here's as if there are 4 items of business that could be before us for second and final reading. Of course, that's dependent upon what occurs tonight, at tonight's regular council meeting. The first item would be ordinance 1034 in regard to amending the zoning regulations, actually a rezoning of 501 South Germantown. That is on tonight's agenda. I believe there's a public hearing for that tonight as well. That has gone through the Planning Commission. So we will be dealing with that tonight. Item B is ordinance number 1035. That would be potentially for second final reading, construction of a billboard at 6726 Ringgold Road. Item C would be second and final reading of ordinance 1036. That would be construction of a digital billboard on a tract of land at 5705 Ringgold Road. And then item D, again, second and final reading, ordinance number 1037, request for construction of an off-premise sign on a tract of land located at 6642 Ringgold Road. Obviously, we'll entertain any questions or comments you might have, but again, considering these items are on tonight's regular agenda, I imagine we will have ample discussion during that meeting, if council desires. Moving on to new business, potentially an unnumbered resolution. This would be authorizing the application for acceptance of the Maddie's Fund Innovation Grant.
Yes, sir. That is going to, what the animal shelter wants to do is they occasionally get a dog that may have kind of recycled through the animal shelter a couple of times. It could be a behavioral issue. It's something that could be easily trained out of the animal in order to make it adoptable. So what they're wanting to do is bring on a trainer and have, I think it is no more than 8 clients per quarter. It's a 6-week session. And to be able to keep the dogs in the home, help them train those behaviors out in order to keep them there versus bringing them back to the shelter, because I can't deal with a dog that doesn't know how to go out to the bathroom outside or stop chewing on the rug, things, really simple things like that. So that is what they're wanting to use this money for. It's a $5,000 100% grant. We've tried for Maddie's grant before with some other different programs, but they want to try this to kind of help keep, like I said, keep the animals in the home and also maybe make this an ongoing program.
Are there any questions? Thank you. No, thank you. All right. Item B, another unnumbered resolution. Consideration of awarding bids for roofing project. This was a rebid.
Yes, unfortunately, we got no bids. We called about 4 or 5 of them and found out that some had forgot about it, but a lot of them are just darn busy right now and can't accommodate getting all this stuff, so then we bid it out. Some of those we did call and talk to, and sure as they will see the bids. So it's out for bid right now, and we'll have the bids, open them up and bring them back to you for award at the next council meeting on May 11th.
And these were mostly for the Camp Jordan buildings, pavilions and whatnot, and then one street and or sanitation building.
Correct.
Now, the building on the hill down there,
That's-
bathroom,
Yeah,
and y'all say it's already being worked on?
it's going to be worked on. It's not
The
included in
corner,
here.
it's not already started.
Well, it's my,
Because I was under the influence last time that I was told that they had
It's-
already started the process.
that's mine too.
Yeah, well, I drove that earlier.
If it's not, then I'll find out tomorrow why it's not. It was my understanding.
Or if it's
Because we didn't have to.
flashing off each side.
Right.
Now,
All right. Item C would be another unnumbered resolution. Consideration of awarding bids for Camp Jordan Parkway streetscape project.
Okay, we opened up bids today. We received 3 of them. You have that in your packet. The base bid, lowest base bid came in at $725,475. Alternate 1 included the fencing all the way down, both sides. And alternate 2 included the the fence in front of the retention pond and the swamp area on the east side, as well as a hedgerow for the balance. Now, if you note on here, got quite a discrepancy on alternate 1 and 2 for Irving concrete construction. The key to that one basically is I don't really think they understood what they were bidding on. Something's wrong, but the first 2 basically came in very similar to each other. Anyway, the bids, Mike Price was at the bid opening. He's the engineer drafting up the specs. Turned all the bid sheets over to, or the bid schedules over to him, and he'll look at those, do his analyzation, review, get back to us his findings and recommendations. This will be placed on the May 11th meeting for your consideration for award. So I can't say right now. The base bids came in fairly decent. You go with those, alternate 1 and alternate 2, include the additional work. So, we'll have a report for you for May 11th.
Okay.
now, question.
Yes, sir.
Alternate 2, would it be better if we must have turned that around and put the fence row up toward the buildings and the hedgerows down there at the swamp and the retention pond?
Are you asking me what my recommendation is?
Yes, sir, sure am.
I think what we should do is just do the base.
That would be,
That would be,
No-
that
no
would
fence.
include the sidewalks on both sides, that would include the streetlights and the trees. I'm not in favor of the fence. I said, I think I made that clear last time we talked about that. I look at a fence as being defined in the planning world as a barrier. Why do we want to put a man-made barrier up to in front of buildings that are open to the public? And I certainly think that the fence should go along the retention pond on the west side, and the swamp, what I call the swamp area, on the east side, because that will serve as a barrier so people don't leave the road and go into those areas. Other than that,
Wouldn't that, fish pond, shouldn't it be fenced all the way around?
it should.
But
It It needs to be.
That's what I was thinking, I mean, it should be, most of them you see everywhere else are fenced in.
They should be fenced in. A matter of fact, in the state of Florida, the majority of the cities, due to several lawsuits that have kind of cropped up over the years with young children drowning in a foot or so of water, basically the majority of the cities, even I worked into back in the 80s and 90s, we required a fence on any body of water that was that would collect more than 2 feet of water. Has to be fenced in. The reason for is for safety. Water is defined in many areas as an attractive nuisance, especially for young children. And you know as well as I do, if you've had grandchildren or whatever, you just turn your back and have a conversation and turn around and that kid bolts. Don't take long. So it's a protection. That should be.
It's just like if they're Walmart, but both of our retention ponds are fenced up around, because that was part of it, to give them the permits to do it.
In the retention pond, a couple of other points on this. The retention pond is solely on the property of Exit One
The
LLC.
retention pond is on the property of Exit One. It is there because of taking virgin ground and taking, probably looking at 60% or more from a pervious to an impervious state, therefore increasing water runoff. That's a requirement of them. And I will actually strongly encourage the city council not to ever accept a retention pond for a private development, whether it be commercial or whether it be residential. Those ponds serve a purpose for that development and should not be maintained by taxpayer dollars. That's the way I have preached for most all the cities I work for. You start taking these things over, then you become liable for anything that happens.
Agreed. The swampy part, that I guess is on the east side of Camp Jordan, there is, at this moment, I don't know that you could really erect a fence in that area.
It would be very difficult because I need to talk to Mike on that to see what the bids included with dirt. But you're not gonna get sidewalks there either because there's several hundred feet where it narrows down and that curb that's installed there right now, you take 1 foot off, if you fall into the swamp area. I mean, there's nothing there. So dirt's gonna have to be brought in when we do the sidewalk on the east side, unless we make a determination. That's one of the things I want to talk to Mike about, is not to put sidewalks there at such time as that area is developed. If you put the sidewalks up there, you're gonna have to put a rail there.
Right.
You're gonna have to put you cannot have a sidewalk have a drop off into a swamp area. So the city is gonna have to put a rail there. That's ADA requirements. And it's also, to be honest with you, if I bring our pool claims adjusters down to do an inspection of that, they will insist that we put that up.
If we stop the sidewalks back before there, then we would be required with rails.
Correct. That's my analysis of it, yes.
I noticed Alderman 1 and Alderman 2, neither one has the lights in.
No, the lights is in the base bid. The base bid includes the lights, the street lights, the trees, including some trees in the median, sod, and sidewalks. 10 foot on the west side and 5 foot on the east side.
If we put the sidewalks in, we're going to put the rails in, so that's added onto this.
Yes, sir. You do with alternate 1, that would add the rails. The alternate 2, that would include rails. As I understand, we put out for the retention pond in the swamp area, and the rest would be hedge row.
The reason I asked that about the Would that be our responsibility to put a fence up along with,
No,
why are we talking about the fence up down here then?
you're asking the wrong party. That's why I'm not recommending it. This was bid out over a year ago when we originally did Camp Jordan Parkway. We were looking at streetlights, sidewalks, and trees. A little more than trees, I think we had some landscaping in there, and I don't want to do landscaping, I want to do, let the trees grow up, and we can cut the grass a lot easier other than getting down on all fours and pulling weeds and weed beds. It's very labor intensive. The council at that time decided not to deduct that from the roadway, just do that. So when I resurrected this, that's the 3 things I came to the council to do. I got your authorization. And it was actually one that came in and wanted to put in the fence. And then when we talked about the fence the whole way, we talked about, well, I don't like the fence all the way, I just don't think it. A fence tells people you shouldn't go in there. It always has, it's eternal, it's buried. Then we talked about taking the fence out in front of the businesses that would be going in there, retail shops, and put a hedgerow. So that was the instructions the council asked me to do, so we added that in as alternate 1, 1, or 2. The base bid only includes the 3. Lights, sidewalk, trees.
I think it's good that we had these items, the fence and the hedgerow bid out, so we have some idea of what the expense of that would be, but I have to agree with you. I don't know that this is something that we
Base
necessarily.
bid's got the trees in it.
Yes, sir.
Well, it seems like if we went just for base bid and didn't put the sidewalks, which you're not gonna have you build it on the west side anyway on that.
You'll have buildings on
Right, you can put sidewalks down that part, but when you get down to the swampy area, I just leave it like it is.
well, you can stop it right there. That's one of the things that Mike's gonna have to analyze for us.
I don't know if they'll let them put any kind of dirt in there. I mean, 'cause you might put it out pretty good ways, pretty deep.
To get a 5-foot sidewalk, and yeah, and to get the trees in there and so forth, so you could stop at Jordan Crossing, actually the development area includes just about the whole west side of Camp Jordan Parkway, and only half, when you look at Exhibit B, which is the attachment to the development agreement, only includes that area, which right now has been the dirt area out there, which is only about half of the way down Camp Jordan Parkway on the east side. I would say put sidewalks there to connect whatever goes in there going to the hotel or eating places, restaurants and so forth. If people want to walk down, you can always put a crosswalk going across to the west side, and that sidewalk's going to be there the whole way.
Well, I think.
Yes, sir.
So does the base bid have sidewalks on both sides?
Yes.
So we would need to then amend that base bid.
I have to get with Mike and talk to him about that, yes, to find out. But now, to me, if we're not putting sidewalks the whole way on the east side, this base bid's will be reduced.
Would you recommend putting a fence though in front of the swampy area?
I would definitely just put a fence in front of the swamp area and put a fence in front of the retention pond. I do believe that that's because it basically says stay out. It's buried. I want people.
Why wouldn't they put the fence around the?
I'm not saying retention pond's different. I'm talking, Brian's asked me about putting up the 4 rails fence on both sides of the. He said, what I'm saying is put the 4 rail fence.
Next to
You
the
can't
right
put a
of way.
4 rail fence around that retention pond. That's got to be chain link, 4 foot minimum.
If it's done, if you think about many developments throughout Hamilton County, even residential developments, and they have those, if they turn that into a water feature, it could be different. It could be more of a aesthetic. I think the reason, can't speak for them, but the reason why it hasn't been done yet is because there's no sod, there's no seed, there's no grass, there's still got boom out. But I can definitely check into the fence requirement.
Well,
Because they look through Hamilton County and their 2-day requirement.
yeah, they want to call you.
Go ahead.
Would there, any new construction going on there, could that affect the current retention pond? Is that maybe why they're not doing it? Because if they build out and they pave it, they may have to adjust it?
It shouldn't be changed
No.
because that was all approved under FEMA. It can't change. That was part of the no-rise. The reason why the pond looks like it is, or the detention is, that's part of the no-rise. When you rise, you have to take out. That's what it is.
So there's no reason they can't go ahead and put a fence on it, and actually they should.
Well, they could. They still got grading to do along the side that hasn't been completed, and that's for sure.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on this?
You're gonna look at
Yes, sir.
three base bids,
I'm gonna get with Mike Price and
run this back.
look at, if we're only gonna be centering our attention on the base bid, then the low bid, you don't gotta worry about even those alternates. Then the low bid actually becomes, just lost it, Yearly Concrete Construction. And then on top of that, the $725,475. And again, I want to preface, let the public know that this money's coming from the Warner Regional taxes. We're going to go out in the bond issue on this, 20-year bond issue, and then have the annual debt service paid from the proceeds of the Board of Region District tax. But the 725, if we talk about removing sidewalk on a portion of the east side, then that,
Concrete, down the,
and the trees too, because,
put the rail out a little bit back, but it should have been that down, I mean, less.
yes, because first, the alternate, as I understand it, calls for the fence all the way on both sides.
Good, it's just a,
All right. The last item here under new business, item D, is discussion of school appropriations, and I asked for this to be placed on here. We have a line item in this year's budget, the existing year's budget, of $2,000. We have in the past used these to help fund the art programs at the elementary schools. We have not received any requests for those funds this year. However, when we were at Spring Creek Elementary for the painting day, the chamber-sponsored painting day, the music teacher there talked to me about a program that they have started that is an orchestra, a student orchestra program. And they have gotten some instruments donated. They've gotten some very low price deals on some other instruments, but they're still lacking. And so, because it goes hand in hand with what we've used it for in the past, I thought it would be a good thing to carve out some of that money for the school to purchase instruments. Also spoken with Eastridge High School and some of the folks there in the Athletics Hall of Fame that they created. There's a need that they have for some funding to do. Every year they do class of outstanding athletes that I think Doug Rosser was inducted last year for his help with the football program since 1966. I think he's been the lineskeeper. Anyway, they have a need for some of that money. So essentially what I'm proposing is if we could carve up the $2,000 in $500 increments. Give $500 to each of the 4 public schools: Spring Creek Elementary, East Ridge Elementary, East Ridge Middle, East Ridge High School. And I think they would certainly be appreciative of whatever we can do.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
the other night, in the office club meeting, we had a lady come up and spoke to us from Spring Creek Elementary. She was telling us her needs. Their entire need of a playground down there, they say is unsafe for the kids to play on. And they're gonna try to do some fundraisers with us. One of them, that they just about had to take everything out. One playground can still play on it, but it's in a horrible shape. So, I'd like to find out if they would be our need for the music program or the playground. You know, because they didn't mention the music thing, that's good. All they mentioned was the playground.
Yeah, I actually serve on the East Ridge Chamber Board with the principal, Phil Anaroni. Mr. I, because his last name is hard to pronounce. And I will see him next week, so I will most certainly ask him about that.
Yeah, I can't think of this girl's name, but she's real good speaker. She's the public relations money raiser.
Yes, that's a community outreach person. I met her, yes. I sure did, yeah. And I think what we're gonna find is that the school has
A lot of needs.
a lot of needs. And that's probably what we're gonna see. But I will most definitely speak with him and let you all know what he says.
All right.
If there are, well, we'll go around the dais here real quick. Ms. Help, do you have anything for us?
Nothing.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Sewell? Nothing. Mr. Gates?
I'd just like to thank the police department for the times we had in here last council meeting, lines in here. They've done a good job of our taking care of that. I see the report. So, some of the neighbors have done told me and thanked me. And so I told them all the thought, thanks, well, thank you, go team.
Indeed. I think, I'm sure the number of citations written.
We're still writing.
There's been several citations written in that area, so that hopefully will serve as a deterrent. And I think we're going to look at reducing the speed limit there as well. All right. And that is all that we have for this.
Something about speed limits.
Yes.
Years back, the street that's not posted out here is automatically 20 miles an hour JR, you need that right?
Correct.
So, it's 25 there, so I don't see any reason why there'd be any problem more than that.
Right, sure. All right. Well, that will conclude this agenda work session. And I'm going to